6 are finding out whether they've been given their first choice of secondary school for this coming September. Experts say in London, many are likely to be disappointed, with some boroughs having the highest rate nationally for families not getting their preferred choice. Bernadette John is from the Good Schools Guide, here to give us some tips and advice on what is a very important day for many. Just in London, to begin with, we do see lots of these boroughs who have very high refusal rates, certainly for first choice places. Is that because schools there just oversubscribed?
Yes, and I should just actually correct you. It's actually the primary school places which are being announced today rather than secondary. Yes, I mean, obviously, London is an area of dense population. It's not easy to expand the schools. There isn't land, there isn't room. So that all contributes to the pressures, which make it far worse. I think in London we're expecting about 16% of parents across the capital not to get the place they want, but very far worse. For example, here in Kensington, it's going to be 1 in 3 will be disappointed. Yeah,
and it can be a real hard decision when you get that information as to where you go next. What is the first step if you are disappointed today, you've not got what you wanted?
Well, you must accept that school place, because otherwise you run the risk your child will have no place at all for September. I think the good news for London parents is that London schools, on the whole, are better than in the rest of the country. So it's not likely, although it might not be the school you want, it's unlikely to be a complete disaster. Certainly give the school a chance. And if you ask any teacher, they'll tell you the things that you do at home with your child, reading to them, talking to them, stimulating them, can have a huge effect to counteract any less than ideal school place.
I imagine that one of the worst things you could do as well is to let the child have a sense of your disappointment if it's not what you wanted. You've got to try and perhaps shelter them from this, because they won't know any different, potentially.
No, absolutely. I mean, the child takes their security from the parent, so, you know, don't say there's no way you're going to that school. Don't let them see you're distressed about it. Certainly.
In terms of if a parent is adamant this is not what they want, there is an appeal process. Would you recommend against that, or urging on the side of caution in terms of the actual success of that?
There are very few grounds on which you can appeal for a reception school place, and it's all to do with the technicalities of whether the admissions process has been applied correctly. So it's a very low success rate, 1 to 2%. The best bet, I mean, if people want to call us at the Good Schools Guide, we can listen to your grounds and let you know whether you stand any chance of appeal. The thing is, things like having another child in your family at that school, or it being inconvenient for your journey to work, all those sort of things, unfortunately, do not play into it for a primary school place. OK, good to get your thoughts on this. That is Bernadette John from the Good Schools Guide. Thank you for joining us, and apologies for that slight mistake there. So that is those children who are going into primary schools, who are finding out their place